big turnout, and it was an absolute joy to put the work up and to see the entries come in. This is Dominic Thorpe. He is an artist of international and national repute, and he has created all kinds of shows. And I can't even go into his CV, it's a bit big. But he was the final external judge. Just to let you know that this year we had a slight change in how we approached the work. We wanted to give
No, it's good. I just marking it off as she goes through. Nothing left to say.
Will I leave you to
No,
say it all?
please do. I hold up to you.
Thanks very much. So we actually decided this year that we would go for Signal's actual ethos, which is inclusivity, and that everyone who submitted, bar the really huge paintings, would get in. So we kind of broke our own rules this year as well. But really because we wanted to really honour the ethos of Signal, which is that it's non-elitist and it includes everyone. And then we invited staff and board to make a selection. So there's hardly a painting in here that didn't get a vote, which was a really nice kind of thing as well, because there were lots of debates generated, and it was very exciting to even place, some people placed bets on work. So in the end it came down to 12. There were the 12 most picked that consistently came up. And then we gave that list of 12 without any instructions to Dom. We said, listen Dom, can you be the outsider who comes in fresh and just goes well and take a winner from there.
So,
sorry,
thank you.
I spoke to you.
Yeah, that's most of my speech. It's lovely. It was a joy and an honour to spend the afternoon here looking at work. Eleanor asked me to say something about the show and about the nature of the show, and I thought I'd say something about the nature of art as well. When I see someone opening a show, two things I look for is that they might say something meaningful and that they won't say it for very long. So don't worry, the A4 pages is very big writing. Okay. There was something about the necessity of communities of artists, a necessity of support among artists, and ground-up artist-led initiatives. And I thought I'd just say something about that, and about my thoughts on what art practice is or might be. That might chime with what some other people think, it may not, that's okay. You know, we're not after consensus. There was something about this show that was welcome right from its inception, from the motivation driving its inception, to the call out, to the amount of people that put in work, and when you step in the door and there's so much work on the wall, and it just rings as welcome, and I really like that, because as artists, in a way, we're unusual. We bring the kind of creativity you embrace in childhood, we bring it into adulthood through art, and I think it's really vital, it's really necessary. Some of us keep going right through teenage years, and some people put it down, pick it up later on. Either way, it's all good. Everything is important. Every piece of work done is important, and every piece of work in here feels important, and it's been treated with the same respect, every piece of work, and I really love that, and I really appreciate that. Of course, everybody uses creativity in all facets of life, but there's something about art practice that we have to engage our curiosity, we have to think outside the box, and we have to challenge ourselves, and I think that's very valuable in the world. And there's something about the word play. I was at a talk last year in NUIG where the theatre practitioner Margaretta Darcy gave a public interview. Margaretta Darcy is the lady who walked out onto the Shannon runway with her walking frame. You might remember it in the news. She said at the interview she had to do it twice because they didn't arrest her the first time. And she also got to the end of about 2 hours of questions from panellists and audience members. And she said in the very end she was surprised nobody asked her about play. And that kind of really struck me. And it struck me that it's really important for adults to bring that to the world through art, and it's really reflected in this show. Art feels like an uncertain thing. One of its most valuable qualities, I find, is that you can't pin it down. It's static. It's never static. It's always moving. It's always moving. And as an artist, you must move. You must remain on the move in order to be in proximity to it. So kind of a leap of faith is required. And I think with all the works I saw here, people are taking leaps of faith. It's really courageous in your own community to express yourself, to put it on a wall and invite people to come. And I think that's really, really important. I kind of find that it's important to think that we're plugging into a lineage that's tens of thousands of years old. It's as old as we are. And everybody all along that line has taken that leap of faith. Everybody here has done the same thing. And every piece of work is all the more valuable for it. We create hierarchies afterwards, but that's kind of irrelevant. Every piece of work made is important despite any hierarchy. So ultimately, I suppose the sense is, and the sense from this show is that we're in it together, a community, a tribe of creatives, and each work here carries that value. And I wanted to mention something about the value of the space. There was an artist in, because these spaces are really important, artists run initiatives, initiatives that are ground up are really, really important. There was an artist in Belfast, quite a radical performance artist named Andre Stick, who did loads of really challenging things in the 70s in the street in Belfast when people were being blown up and so on. And if you forgive my language, he wrote something on a wall that said, "Art is not a mirror, it's a fucking hammer." Massive big kind of thing on the wall. And I think it can be both, but I think it's good to understand that spaces like this are so important because they're not just reflecting the world, they're shaping it. They provide opportunities, they're making differences, and yeah, they're taking a really meaningful approach of what it means to build community and express ideas within those communities. And so I want to congratulate the space and all the artists in the show, and that's my spiel over. I have a check. I'll just make sure I'm giving it to the right person. It's not my own name, no. It's Brian Manning. Brian.
Excellent! Brian!
Just to say something about this, the work, the Garden of Eden. This one here, up on the corner, top right corner. It's beautiful and it deserves this.
Very background, very story,